Hi, everyone. It's Robert Allen here, just waiting to get things started, letting people log into the Hangout. Thanks for joining us. We'll be getting started shortly. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's Robert Allen here. We're going to get started in just a few minutes, letting people sign into the room. Just sit back and relax, and we'll be getting started shortly. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, everyone. It's Robert Allen. We're going to get started in just another minute or two. So sit back and relax. If you've loaded up the question and answer portion, you can, if you have any questions you'd like to preload in there, you can go ahead and do that. I'll go over that part when we get started. But thanks for being here. We're going to get started in just a minute. Hi, everyone. It's Robert Allen. Thanks for being here. We're going to get started in just another minute, just giving people a chance to log in. Thanks for being here. We're going to get started in just a minute. If you're in the app on the event page and you have the Q&A section, you can go ahead and pre-ask your questions if you have any at this time. If not, I'm sure you'll have some as we go along. But thanks for being here. We'll get started in just a minute. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I say good afternoon, but I don't know what time it is in your part of the world, but I know that it's afternoon. It's just past 2 o'clock here on the East Coast of the United States. And I want to welcome you to this live event. My name is Robert Allen, and I've invited you here in a number of ways. Not sure how you made it here, but chances are you're involved in some network marketing or marketing of a product or a line of products, and you're here because you want some information about virtual launch parties, and that's what I'm here to share. As part of full disclosure, I want to let everyone know that I am an Isogenics independent associate. But what we're talking about today is universal to anyone in network marketing, and that's what I'm here to share. So there's been a lot of buzz about virtual launch parties, and that's what prompted me to do this. And before we get started, I want to just give everybody a sense of what's going to happen for this next little while and how you can become a part of this, because a part of what I do is to hopefully answer some of your questions, and that's what part of this will be if you have any. So in order for you to share those questions with me, if you've come through the event page, there is a Q&A app that is loaded up when you load up through the event page. If you're watching on YouTube itself, feel free to just leave a question in the comments. I'll be keeping my eye on that as well. So that's kind of, and just to let you know, some of you may have gotten some information that I was going to do this on Zoom, and the reason I chose not to is a couple of reasons, and I'll get into more detail as this presentation goes on. But one of the things I wanted was ease of entry here. So there was a limitation of how many people I could have in the space, and that was causing some issues. So I wanted to use a platform which is Google Hangouts on Air in order to open it up to more people and not have to worry about any space limitations. But this platform is just one of a few that I'll talk about today. So let's get started. Let's talk about the virtual launch party, and talk a little bit about what it is, and let me preface by saying that today, okay, I will not get to nearly everything that you need to know about launch parties. Okay, there's just too much information to share with you. So there is no real way of being able to cover everything. So don't feel like you've not grasped all that you would like to grasp, because there's much more information than I can give you in one session today. Okay, and if you have questions, I'll put up my contact information towards the end. So if you have, if you think of any questions, you can always get in touch with me after this. Okay, so don't be concerned if there's something that you just don't get today. So let's talk about the advantages of doing an online event like this. Okay, and the first thing is lazy people. No, I'm only kidding. People are very busy. Okay, and there's a myriad of reasons why someone can't come to your in-person event. Okay, and that's really what the virtual event is you're trying to create an environment that you would have in a in-person event, where you're having people to your home or to a preset place somewhere in a hotel, meeting room, or something of that nature, okay? How do we duplicate the event in the online space? Now, the desire is there because people are busy. So I'm sure that those of you who have wanted to have an in-person event or have had in-person events, one of the challenges, of the many challenges, is that people always have an excuse, okay, why they can't make it. Gee, that night of the week is not good for me because I can't get a babysitter. My husband or my wife works late and I'm with the kids. Okay. It's just too far for me. I don't drive at night. The weekends aren't good. Whatever the excuse is, the online event cuts down a lot of those barriers. Okay. I like the idea of a lean forward environment. What I mean by a lean forward environment is on the computer, on the desktop, on the mobile device, it's up close and personal versus let's sit back on the sofa and watch a movie. Okay, this is not what this is like. This is something that is engaging. Okay, visual learners, home run. Okay, because you're able to use visuals, whether it be photographs, slides, video, all of those things are, really important if you're a visual learner. I just think it's important in general because it keeps people engaged. Although you're not having people in your home for an in-person event, it can be very personal. Okay. Now, the platform we're using today of Google Hangouts on Air, and one of the platforms we'll talk about as we go on is Google Hangouts, and that's certainly one option. But my favorite environment right now is Zoom, and I'll have some examples of that visually. But that can be very personal because that is a few-to-few environment, okay, where you have a small group of people, and it's important in that environment that everyone sees one another. In this environment, this is a one-to-many environment where I am getting this information out to many people, okay, at once. That's different. I can't see you. The only way that you can communicate with me is through the Q&A, okay, or through the comments on YouTube, okay? So that's not the environment you want for a launch event. You want to be able to see people and interact with them, okay? Those of you who saw, who attended my mock virtual launch party, okay, saw how that environment lent itself for interaction. People were able to see one another or turn their cameras off. I can't see anyone here, so this is a different environment, okay, in doing that. So, but I like to say that when I host an online launch party, that the only thing I can do is let you sample the product, okay, and I can't give you a hug. Those are the two things. Other than that, I want the launch event to feel, okay, just like they would feel in a live event. Okay, it should have that same feeling. So what I do, well, you saw here, if you signed in early, you saw that I had a welcome slide and I came on, okay, a few times just by voice because I was still getting dressed. So I didn't have my camera on, but I had a slate on, right? So, but I came on my voice and I let people know that we're getting started in a few minutes, relax. When I use Zoom, it gives me a bit more control and it's more intimate. I'm actually playing music when people come in. Okay, so I've got that hooked up to a playlist on Spotify, and then I connect that, and then that music is playing, and I pick out the music, specifically heavy Springsteen, so that music is playing when people sign in. Okay, they can see one another, or they can turn their cameras off if they choose to. Okay, which brings me to the last point on that slide that I had up, was that it's less intimidating. Okay, depending on the product line. Okay, if for example, if you're if you represent nutritional products, okay, and a component of that is weight loss, people may not be comfortable coming to an in-person event, okay, and exposing that they maybe want to shed a few pounds, okay. This, they can sign in, choose to not have their picture shown, their video shown, which is okay, but yet are still there and can interact. And then at one point during the Q&A, they can turn their cameras on. So for people that have or feel that an in-person event is a little bit intimidating, this this is the solution, really. So that's, I think, why people have found this. Now there's also and I'm not sure if she's on, but someone has an audience that is limited in mobility, okay. They can't get to an in-person event easily, just can't do it. This is the perfect thing to incorporate, all right, to be able to present something in such a way that is useful to people and convenient. So let's talk about some of the features of the online environment. Okay, so some of the basics. Not every platform will have everything, but a chat ability. Okay, I like to, when I'm doing an online launch party, have people just kind of introduce themselves just by saying, where are you from? Okay, putting in your city, because again, remember, if you're doing a virtual event, okay, your entire contact list becomes available, right? Because if you think about it, you're planning a launch event for in person. Well, realistically, what's your radius? Half an hour drive, 45-minute drive, an hour drive? What's the radius? Think about now the online environment. Got people from all over the world that are in here right now. All the previous events I've done, people from all over the world, okay? So it's, it becomes, a real tool that takes away a lot of barriers. Q&A, easy way for people to ask questions, okay? If you're using a platform like Zoom, then people can actually come on and ask questions, okay, via their camera, okay? And, and that way you can, answer the questions either in a live mode or via the Q&A app, okay? Screen sharing. That's what I am doing, right now. Obviously, I'm sharing slides, okay? You can share images, pictures. I'll be doing that in a moment. You can share video. I'm also going to do that. This, unfortunately, Google Hangouts on Air, which is different than Google Hangouts, a little bit different. I'll explain that in a couple of minutes. But Google Hangouts on Air is not really good right now in sharing video. The Zoom platform that I use for online launch parties, for my virtual launch parties, it's great. Video sharing is just spot on, okay? You'll see the limitation in a moment when we're doing this, okay? Device sharing. Zoom also has the ability, I could plug in my iPhone or my iPad, and then I could demo something right from my device. Okay, so let's say I wanted to share something quickly on Facebook. I could just bring it up on my phone if I wanted to, okay, and share that. Can't do that here in Hangouts. Zoom, you could do that. Recording, basic function. Google Hangouts on Air records out to YouTube automatically, okay? So that recording is there. Other platforms like Zoom, you have to initiate the recording function, so you have to remember. And then breakout rooms, another really great function available in Zoom, where I use that quite a lot, okay, in that I'm able to I'm able to take people who, let's say, want to learn about the business portion, okay, of what my company has to offer, okay. I may not want that to happen. As a matter of fact, I don't want that to happen in the general space. I think that's talked about most effectively in private. So I like to have the ability to break people up into smaller groups. So if there's a group of people that want to learn about the business side as well as the products, I can take them in another room and talk to them separately. Or better yet, if I have guests that we've invited into the virtual launch party, and they want to sign up, well, I take them and a team member, someone from my team, into their own breakout room, and they're able to answer questions one-on-one, take information, and actually do a sign up right then and there. Easy. It's it really it's a great feature. Currently, as far as I know, and if anyone has any other information, please let me know. Zoom has that wrapped up, that whole breakout room thing. Maybe GoToMeeting or something like that may have that, but I've used it a number of times with Zoom, and it works just really great. Okay, so let's talk just a little bit about the format of the online launch party. Okay, that virtual environment where you're taking guests into this virtual space and presenting to them. Okay, so let's talk just briefly about the layout of the launch event itself. Okay, so what does that look like? So like the next few slides are from what I would present during the virtual launch event. Okay, so what I always do is I always take them through what they're going to experience during the launch event. Okay, so that for me and the products that I talk about, okay, we share our journeys. Okay, a lot of our product users use them for weight loss, so there are some very emotional, very real, sometimes very raw experiences that people share. So I touch on that they're going to experience that. Then we talk about what their day is like on the system of products. Okay. Then we talk about the products themselves, and I usually have one of my teammates talk about the products. And then we talk about the investment, on what it's like to purchase the products each and every month. So we talk about the investment, right? So then we get into the presentation, and let me just start by saying that in all likelihood, you will need to create a lot of your slides yourself because you want to customize it. But depending on what company that you work with, they may already have slides and other media in place so that you can incorporate their slides into your presentations if that is its intention, right? So you'll want to check with your organization's compliance department to make sure that the material that you use in your presentation is what it should be, especially when you're using logos and product shots and things like that. You want to make sure that you are compliant always. Okay, so it's always better to ask questions and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, so what I would typically do is I would typically start off, and then I would share my story, my journey of where how I got started on the system and why and how it's made me feel. Always remaining compliant in the information that I share, as well as you should share. More importantly, okay, that should hold true in any situation. Okay, whether you're doing a virtual launch party, whether you're doing a launch event in your home or in a meeting room somewhere, you should always make sure that the information that you're sharing is information that you can and should be sharing. So I'll share photographs before and afters. As you know, when you're in nutrition and weight loss, very powerful. Whether you're doing skincare, you can do before and afters. If you're doing household cleaning products, you can do before and afters. Visuals are very important. If you're selling car wax, you want people to come and represent your product line and buy your products, you can do it online. It doesn't matter what the product line is. Now, video can be very powerful, and I would encourage you to use it. Some companies make it available for their associates to use. Others, you may have to do your own. I have a very strong video background, so I made my own video, and that's what I'm going to share. Now, this video is not going to play very smoothly. I'll warn you up front. It's not your issue. It's the issue with Google Hangouts, and it's the one Google Hangouts on air, and it's the one drawback certainly of this platform in doing that. But I'm going to play at least just a little bit of this for you guys. And if you want to see the whole thing, you can contact me, and I'll make sure that I get you a link to that. Okay, so I wanted to illustrate my body transformation. So what I've done is I've put on some of my what call my old clothes, and I wanted to just show you what I've turned into. So these were all clothes that I was wearing at the beginning of this year, beginning of 2015. So I wanted to just show you what I've got on. So I've got these pants on here. I'm going to take these off. Here, and these are the shirts that I would wear. So this is a typical shirt, and I can show you when I take this off, unbutton it, it could actually be a bathrobe through here. So these are also my old pants. Beginning of the summer, and they're buttoned, and I can just slip them right off here to reveal these jeans, which I also used to wear, and now they can just slip right off, revealing I am now. So this is where I am currently. Okay, so that was, obviously I've got, the ability to do video and edit video, and so I created that for my virtual presentations. Okay, so there are ways that you can create your own content, whether it be slideshows or things like that. Video is just very powerful in all regards, because all of you watch video. You're watching video right now. Okay, so if you can incorporate video, and again, your company, your organization may provide videos for you to share. If you do, I encourage you to pick the one that fits best with how you're comfortable sharing your product line with others, and then incorporate that in your presentation. So those few slides, and you can see, and then of course you would follow that by product images. But then don't forget, you have a camera available to you, so you could, whatever, your product, say, here's my product, Okay, and this is, you know, we love this. We love, this is the best shampoo money can buy. This is the best drink you can drink. You know, whatever it is. That's not the point of this. You're going to need your skill set to share the products, okay, with others. How you've been trained to do that, okay? This is the medium, okay? But don't forget to be able to use it, okay? You can show things on camera in detail if you choose to, okay? It's, you know, you can do that. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to rub, you know, the cream on your, look how beautiful, look, you know, look how nice, you know, that is. So you can demo products right on camera. Don't be afraid to do that. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit more about, let me bring the screen share back up here. Don't forget, the Q&A app that you're seeing, go ahead and put your questions in there, and we can get to those. I've got some pre-prepared questions as well. So let's talk about some of the tools that you need for doing a virtual launch. Okay, some of them are for promotion, some are for actually getting it done and online. Okay, the first thing you want to do, okay, is get people to sign up. You want to know who they are, you want to know how to contact them, and then you want to give them a way in to see what they need to see. Okay, so that's lead capture. Graphics, you should always have tools, and we'll get into some more of this with some examples. Graphics, there are places now that you can, and you can do a Google search for this, for free images to use in your graphics. Okay, because everything that you do to promote an event is going to need a visual to go with it. Okay, you need to have a visual as part of the experience. Okay, so that's very important. The camera that you use, all right, you may want to consider that the camera that's built into your computer may not be the best camera that you could use. Okay, I use a separate high definition camera. That's why I look so amazing on camera. Okay, if you've noticed, I know you've probably all been commenting, but that's because of the amazing camera I use. Okay, I'm kidding. I hope you're getting that I'm kidding. But you can get an external webcam that's high definition and connect that. Audio, very important. You may choose to use an external microphone to make sure that your audio is good. You want to pick a quiet place, lighting and background. If you notice, okay, I have a background set up behind me. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. The main reason is that if I didn't have this background, okay, you would see the ocean behind me and the crashing waves against the cliffs. And that would be very distracting. And it would be unfair of me to let you see all that. So instead, I've chosen to have a background here so that you can focus just on me. Now, of course, I jest, but where you set up and how you set this up is very important, okay? I may very well have a bright window behind me. So I set up a background to block out that window. Otherwise, I would just be a silhouette, okay? I've got some lighting in front of me, some of which is coming actually off of the screen, illuminating me so that the picture at least looks good. You don't want to have many things behind you that could be a distraction, okay? So you want to be mindful of that. So having a background becomes important, okay? All right, so remember, questions, post any questions that you have. Okay, let me go back to my presentation. Okay, so let's talk about sign-up options, right? So you could create a landing page, okay? there are lots of tools available for you to create a landing page, and you can just search for that, how to create a landing page, and you will get 4 or 5 or a dozen choices for landing pages. Okay, and you could choose to do that, and then people would sign up, give you their name and their email address at least, and then you would get that information, and then you would forward that information out to them on how to access your event. Um, you would need to actually connect that, with your email program, or you could use a ticketing service. Many of you came to this event through Eventbrite. Okay, now we're all familiar with Eventbrite for getting tickets for different events, many of which are in person, many of which are online, and many of which we have all paid, okay, to attend. However, you may or may not know this, but Eventbrite also allows you to use their ticketing service if you're having an event that's free. Okay, so although people signed up for this, it was completely free. Okay, but it allowed me to track how many people were signed up. Okay, at the time, remember, I mentioned earlier I was using Zoom, so I was limited by the amount of attendees. Okay, but now using Eventbrite, I'm able to track how many attendees I have in place. Okay, for me, that's very important, and you need that when you're doing a virtual event. You want to know who they are, and contact information, how you want to get back. You can, and I wouldn't recommend this just on its own, but you could set up a Facebook event. Okay, and we've all seen them. We've all seen Facebook events, and you can say yes, no, or maybe. I haven't had a whole lot of success with Facebook events. If anyone has, I'd be interested in hearing that. For some reason, people don't seem to pay a lot of attention to Facebook events. I don't know why that is. And then you have Google Plus events, where that's what I use to set this up, that I'm doing on Google, on the Hangouts on Air. Okay, so I used a Google event. Some of you have come here through that event page. Okay, this is what the landing page for the Eventbrite. Okay, so when you came through Eventbrite, this is what it looked like. Okay, I created the graphic with the text. Okay, the text in the middle is generated by Eventbrite. Okay, the other text is part of a graphic that I created, and there's a description, and you see there's a big registration button, and it says free. And all that was required of people was to give me their name and their email address so that I could remind them that this was happening. Eventbrite has some really neat tools on following up, and the emails that I sent out to many of you who came in through Eventbrite were generated through Eventbrite. Okay, and it allowed me to remind you guys of this event, because I think that's the biggest downside of these events, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this. But you sign up, you want to go, you're meant to set yourself a reminder, and what happens? You forget. Okay, and then it's gone. So it's that's the challenge. So reminders, yeah, they can be a little bit of a pain in the neck, but when you get the reminder and it does what it's supposed to do and it reminds you, and you check out that event, you're thankful. So with Eventbrite, it's actually automated in that. Okay, so let's talk about the platforms. I've mentioned a few. Let me talk a little bit more in detail about them. First one is Zoom. Okay, you see this a lot in a lot of different groups. There are a lot of teams that use Zoom. If you do it right, and not everybody does it right, and I am going to be the first one to admit it, I'm a nitpicker because I come from the video world, over 30 years in video, and I know you're saying, gosh, he looks so young. How could he possibly be doing anything for 30 years? But it's true. I have been in video for 30 years, so I enjoy the video environment. So I'm a stickler. I plan, I rehearse, I test, and I encourage you to do that as well to make sure that it comes off. But currently, my favorite platform, and I have no affiliation with Zoom. I am a paying customer. I just like the platform. I like the way things are integrated. I like the tools. You'll see on the right, that was a small launch party that we did. On the left, you can do bigger groups. You can do, I think, up to 200 in this environment. That's a lot of people. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend, if you're doing an online virtual launch event, okay, you need to keep it to a manageable amount of people. Okay. You can't have, 30 people, 40 people for an online launch event. That is a lot to manage. Okay. You do want to have a couple of team members with you that'll help you with the presentation. That also is a little bit of the debate that we've had with our team. What's the ratio? How many attendees to team members? Will they feel overwhelmed? And I've done virtual launch parties for 2 people, a couple, okay? And I've done them for, a dozen or more people, okay? But I've never done them for 20 people. That's a lot of people for a virtual launch. If you've got people that you really want to be able to interact with and have them feel comfortable and all, I would max it out at about 15 to 18 people or so to keep it manageable. Okay. But again, if you're comfortable with and you feel that you can manage the questions that come into the discussion, I think that's great. Go for it. But, just be careful. Be careful in that. Okay. So back to the screen. Don't forget, if anyone has any questions, in the question and answer app, you can ask that. So this is what the event page looked like on the Google Hangouts event, Google Hangouts on Air. Okay. They create a page for you. Obviously, I created the graphics. Okay. They do have some stock headers in terms of graphics for you to use. You add in the content information, you activate certain components of the Hangout on Air, and you set it up. But for purposes of what you guys would use for your launch party, you're going to use just a Google Hangout. Okay, that's different from a Hangout on Air. A Hangout on Air is meant for one-to-many. A Google Hangout is different. Everyone who has a Gmail address has the ability to do a Google Hangout. And what that means, in a space similar to what we have here today, okay, what I'm using, will be available to you. So you'll be able to have you and up to 9 other people in the Hangout with you. Okay. And what happens is there'll be a main window like you're seeing me now. And below me, there would be what we call a film strip. And that would be the images of everyone on their webcams. So 9 other people, so 10 people in the room, which could be good for many of you. Okay. In the size of the virtual launch events that you're doing. Okay. A total of 10 may very well be enough. And I would encourage you to try the Google Hangout. Okay. For that. Okay. That might work very well. So it's different in that there would be other people in this space and you could be interacting with those people at, as well as sharing your screen and having a chat function and things like that. So it's a really good tool. It requires, I think, a bit more rehearsal, practice in getting it right than Zoom might be. Although Zoom has a lot of moving parts. don't be, you have to kind of be careful with that. Um, Skype. Okay, so Skype, many of you have been familiar with for a long time. You can now, it used to be you needed to be a premium member to have group calls, group video calls with Skype. No longer is that true. You can have 10 people on a call with Skype and be interacting with video and audio. You can do 25 people just on an audio call on Skype, but a video call up to 10 people. Okay, so you would get just the Skype names of the people involved in your launch, those people that you're inviting to your launch event. Okay, and then you would just essentially make a Skype video call and you're in business. Then you can do a screen share in Skype as well. So you can use that. Now, all of the things that I just mentioned, okay, the Zoom, Google Hangout, Skype, all free. So Google Hangout's completely free. Okay, Skype free, up to 10 people. Zoom does have a free level, but you're limited in time. I believe at 30 minutes, you start getting a warning that this will end in 10 minutes. So you get 40 minutes total with a Google Hangout. I think it's indefinite or 8 hours that you can be in the space. But they do have a free version for that. And there's always, I'm actually researching another platform, believe it or not, that's related a little bit to Blab, which I'm also a user of Blab. The live video environment to me is very hot. And those of you who follow me on social media know I do a lot of live video via Facebook Live. And I'm always popping in, much to the chagrin of friends, at times, but I do like to share. I've always shared my entire career. Most people were baffled by that, but I continue to do it because I believe in giving to others, and that will come back to you. So at this point, I want to move into a couple of questions that I receive consistently when it comes to virtual launch events, and then we'll open it up to anyone who has questions. You can go ahead and bring them in there on the Q&A app. And let me look at the YouTube page quickly, see if anyone has made any comments. No. Okay. Okay, back to the Q&A app. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I think I might have answered this earlier in what I said, but is there a limit to how many new people to have in an online launch party? So again, I'm going to leave it up to you guys because I don't know what products you represent or what types of launch events. You may just do small events of just a couple of people. You may do larger events where you might have a couple of dozen people. I'm going to leave it up to you. You can never go wrong with smaller than larger, right? It's not true for everything, but you can never go wrong with smaller than larger because you can always give more one-on-one attention, okay? And that's never a bad thing. But again, you don't want to overwhelm. You don't want to have too many team members. You don't want to have 8 team members and then 2 prospects. They're going to feel overwhelmed by that, I think. I mean, I don't know. I just think about myself and how I might feel if I were outnumbered like that. So, you kind of have to be, you have to know your product line, your company, and the type of a live event. Okay, how do I get attendees to the online launch party? Okay, so this comes up all the time with everything, but it's not limited. Okay, it's not limited to the online virtual event. that's a challenge for our in-person events as well. Okay, but here's the low-hanging fruit. Okay, and here's why I think the virtual event is so hot right now, is because for the first time as network marketers, we're opening this up to our entire list, right? Our entire list, because for the first time, we're not limited geographically. No limits. When I'm not talking about just, miles away, but I'm talking about thousands of miles away. And if you're part of an international company, all the better. It's a home run. Then you can expand your network internationally and be able to share this through this medium. And if you do it right, if you plan it right, you will be able to attract people. So I would say you're going to continue the way you attract people now, except you can use the benefits of the virtual event in the marketing, right? If you know that your target market is young mothers or young fathers, you know that the babysitter situation is an issue. So you could use in your marketing of your launch event, no babysitter needed. Come to our event in your pajamas. Okay? Just have to get dressed from the waist up. So use to your advantage in attracting attendees those things that come from the benefits of the virtual event. Okay? If you know that your market has difficulty getting out to an in-person event, then stress how easy it is, how there are no barriers in this environment. Okay, huge benefits. So share use the benefits of this to attract people to it. And again, perfect for those prospects who you've been after for a while, who've used the "I'm too busy," or "it's hard for me to get out in the evening," or "I can't do it on the weekends because." Well, here's your chance to do it on let's say a Sunday evening when a lot of people are available and maybe sitting with their tablet or sitting with their mobile device or in front of their computer. Again, the barriers, the excuses just go away. Okay. If anybody has any questions, hit me up in the question and answer app. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. If not, I've got my contact information coming up, and I will share how you can get in touch with me. And obviously, if I've been corresponding with you, you can correspond with me the same way that you found out about this event. And feel free to follow me on Facebook, Robert Allen, or friend me. You can, and we can connect that way. Okay, how often should you hold a launch party? We've been doing, our team has been doing them about every 6 weeks or so. Okay, and the frequency of them will vary based on your contact list. But one of the things that we've done that we've found to be effective, because it does take planning and it does take some mental preparation as well. Okay, because to tell you that there's no anxiety involved in this would be a lie. I've been doing this for a very long time, yet I get, a sense of anxiety when I'm going to come on live like this in front of people, that I'm prepared and that everything goes well and, there are no goof ups, and I don't really know. I mean, I monitor things in the background and things like that, but it's not always perfect. But you try to get it as close to perfect as possible. And that's why you test it out. So if you have people that are anxious to learn about what it is that you're sharing, you can do your launch parties more often, but be careful not to dilute it. Okay, although there have been some people that we know that do this, that like the idea of of having it done on a regular schedule. Okay, the last Thursday of the month, or the first Tuesday of the month, or however much it is, however often it is. They like that regularity of it, so that people know that this particular day of the week or day of the month, they can find one of your launch events. Okay, is this a one-person job to host, or will I need others? That is a great question, and I am going to answer that as honestly as I can and say, yes, you should probably have help. Do I have help? I don't have help today. I'm doing this alone, but I can tell you this, I've done this a lot. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend you doing any live event like this alone. That you have other team members with you, that you have assistants, that you have a producer, if you can manage to do that, someone to set it up and manage it for you, and run it and follow questions that come in. So it's really up to you, but I would recommend, certainly at the start, that you have someone, at least one other person, helping you. But more importantly, I think, and again, depending on the products that you're sharing, okay, if you have a team, to have your teammates with you in the room, or some of them, I think is very important. So having someone with you, I think, is a very good idea, at least at first. But in the online virtual launch environment, you do need to have kind of someone who's checking what's going on in the background. So like now, someone's posted a question, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read it. Okay, so the question is, and this is from Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. I understand, let me select this, so that if someone watches in playback, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do the playback of this yet. But anyway, I digress. So I understand the need to have a blank drape behind where you speak from. If you're speaking about products, do you arrange them behind you, or do you pan the camera, or hold the product in your hand? That's a great question, Bonnie. And the answer is yes to all of that. Okay, if you have the ability, okay, and this is something that you need to try out, okay, to set up where you would have a display behind you, if you had the space, okay, if you had some shelves or things like that, you could certainly create a display behind you of your products. Okay, again, very easy to display a product on camera, okay, just by holding it up. But again, you have to practice it. You don't want to, this is, holding the product up like this and talking about it is not good. So you have to learn, you have to be aware that, the product should be here, okay, so people can see it. If they need to read a label, okay, you need to get, say, look, this is the label here, and let the camera focus in. They may or may not see. Okay, you have to, again, so, you have to be cognizant. See, right now it's focusing on my face and not on the bottle. So you can hold product up, if you needed to. Our products are delicious, so I will sometimes eat. Not always, but sometimes I will. So I hope that answers your question. But you can, yes, creating a nice display behind you, showing products. If you want to take the camera off of where it is and hold it up to products, and things like that, then yes, absolutely, you can do that. If anyone else has any other questions, go ahead and do that in the Q&A. In the meantime, let me bring up my contact information if you don't already have it. so that you can do that. I'm also going to share with you my phone number. So you can reach me directly if you like, or via email. You can do that as well and send us an email to that email address, or call, whatever is most convenient, or message me on social media, on Facebook, anything like that is good. So I'm going to wait just another minute or so. If anyone has any questions, we're just about on an hour. I appreciate everyone hanging in there, and I will try to. I'm not a big fan of the replay in this, because I do like to be available to answer questions if any come up, but due to the fact there weren't many questions here, that maybe people would benefit from a replay. So I'm going to consider that. Let me just check these other two places to make sure that we didn't have any other questions come in, and we didn't. So I'm going to chalk that up to me doing a good job in sharing this information. And I hope that you all found this information to be useful. I encourage you to follow me on social media. If you like this kind of information, I will be sharing it. If anyone has any questions, if they need any help with this, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to speak to you and offer you some direction. I will be having another mock event coming up, and I think that wait, we just got a message just came through. Let me see if it's a question or just a okay. No, that was just spam. Okay, so I don't think there are any other questions, but I am going to have another mock event. Yes, so someone just asked, Bonnie, yes, just asked, yeah, if there's a demand for it, I will do another mock event. But here's the problem, or the challenge. So I like using Zoom for that, but I don't. I have a pro account that gives me 50 seats, so I can certainly do another mock event. I'll have to see what we maxed out with here on this hangout with viewers. I think we were within that range. I have to look at the stats afterwards. So it's okay, but I don't like, if I'm going to have people sign up for an event, and especially like doing another mock event, that was really popular. People really liked seeing it. There are some other challenges I have with doing a mock event that I really can't go into right now. So suffice to say, I would like to do another mock event. I'm going to figure out the best way to do that. I'm not really sure yet how I can do another one. Anyway, I don't want to go into too much detail with that. But yes, I'm going to try and have another mock launch event because it was so well received. So that will do it. We're just about at an hour. I said in my head, I want this to be, 40 minutes done and out, and I never seem to be able to do that. So in any case, thank you for being a part of this. I hope I was able to enlighten some of you. And certainly, I hope that I at least sparked some curiosity as to whether this would be useful in your network marketing endeavors. I think that this is a perfect medium to be able to share, and to share in a group environment, and to share in an interactive environment. More importantly, to make the virtual experience as close to the in-person experience as you can. So thank you again for being a part of this. Until next time, I hope everyone is super successful. Thanks.